Tonight on KVR News, an update on the Florida shooting,
A UT student is harassed online,
and what you can do to protect yourself.
You're watching KVR News, your leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas, you're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to KVR News. For Monday, February 19th, I'm Walton Martin.
And I'm Abigail Arredondo. Thank you for joining us.
Special Counsel Robert Mueller recent indictment reveals that Russian election meddling hit close to home. A 37-page report reveals that Russian nationals visited Texas in 2014 and spread derogatory information in an effort to damage Senator Ted Cruz's campaign. The report reveals that the Russian nationals acted like Americans when communicating with a non-specified Texas-based grassroots organization. Mueller indicted 13 Russians and an organization called the Internet Research Agency, a Russian-based firm accused of interfering in U.S. elections. The report also shows that 2 of the firm's top executives also traveled to Texas in June of 2014 to gather intelligence. The Trump administration denies any collusion.
A 19-year-old entered Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida with an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, killing 17 people. Nicolas Cruz faces 17 counts for first-degree murder. The court will decide whether he will be sentenced to death or life in prison. This depends on Cruz's mental state along with the wishes of the victim's family. According to law enforcement, the prosecution is said to take years. Following the shooting from last Wednesday, President Trump visited hospitalized victims. President Trump tweeted out photos he took with victims and their families, as well as medical staff and law enforcement. The president thanked teachers, first responders, and medical professionals while giving his condolences to the victims and their families for their courage. President Trump has promised future action on mental health.
A devastating Valentine's Day massacre leads students of Parkland High School in Florida to unite and share the love of advocacy. These students are expressing their concern on gun control by forming a march next month at the nation's capital. They plan to join other students across the country for a call to action on school safety and gun control reform. One of the school shooting survivors, Cameron Caskey, says students in every major city will be marching. The march is going to be what brings them to victory and makes some sort of right out of this tragedy.
And a little closer to home, UTPD released 3 steps to follow for surviving an active shooter.
That's right. They advise running, leave all your belongings, and help others escape. Hide, lock, and block doors and stay quiet. Fight and use anything as a weapon to protect your life.
A former Playboy model says she had an affair with Donald Trump beginning in 2006. Karen McDougall submitted a full description of their affair to The New Yorker and explains that Trump would buy her elaborate dinners, hotel rooms, and travel accommodations in an effort to cover up their affair. These events are said to have happened 2 years into his marriage with Melania. The affair is the second in a recent string of allegations against Trump. Earlier this month, former adult film star Stephanie Clifford revealed that Trump's personal lawyer paid her $130,000 to not discuss a 2006 affair. Trump denies both of these alleged affairs.
Texas has one of the lowest voter turnouts in the nation, according to a report published by the Annette Strauss Institute here at UT. Only 23% of Texans talk about politics with their friends and family, ranking the state 15th in the nation. People attributed not voting to a dislike of candidates or lack of political interest. Early voting for primaries begins tomorrow and runs through March 2nd. For more information on candidates up for election, visit vote.org. The Texas primary elections start on March 6, which means it's time to start preparing to head out to the polls. To check if you're registered to vote and see where your polling location is, go to the Texas Secretary of State's website and enter your name, birth date, zip code, and the county that you live in. Some of the many forms of identification that can be used to vote include a driver's license issued by the Texas Department of Public Safety, a Texas Election Identification Certificate, and a U.S. passport. Among those running are Governor Greg Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who are both seeking re-election.
The Texas Freedom Caucus is optimistic that it will grow in the Texas legislature after March's Republican primaries, citing positive election expectations. Representatives such as Irving's Matt Rinaldi say that the caucus could more than double in size in 2019. The Freedom Caucus has made a name for itself in recent years due to their hardline conservative stances on issues such as private school subsidies, anti-abortion measures, and regulating bathroom use for transgender Texans. These representatives' hopes will be either proven or rejected after the March primary.
7 women in the Austin Opera have filed sexual harassment claims against their art director, Richard Buckley. Buckley was in his 13th year at the Opera House. He is accused of touching women inappropriately and making crude comments. According to the women, Opera board members and executives knew about Buckley's behavior, but did nothing for an extended period of time. Buckley was fired on February 1st of 2018 because of his inappropriate behavior that violated the company's policy on harassment. Buckley told the Austin American-Statesman that he never intended on offending anyone and that he used humor to release pressure and diffuse the tension.
4 in 10 Americans have experienced online harassment. That's according to the Pew Research Center. KVR News explored if that statistic holds true on the UT campus.
It all started with an anonymous text message sent to UT student Emmy Coffey from an unknown person, asking her to send revealing photos of herself in exchange for payment. After denying the request, Coffey blocked the number but continued to receive messages.
So angry, and I said, I don't want you to contact me. I don't know who you are.
The unknown person used the app TextMe to contact Coffey. TextMe allows you to use a fake number and also make phone calls. The messenger even used fake names and followed Coffey on Facebook and Snapchat. He told Coffey he was in her biochemistry class.
Finally, I decided to kind of turn it around and, pretend that, oh, now I'm interested. Like, oh, do you want to hang out? Like, do you want to text? I've always wanted to know who it is because if it's someone in my classes, I wouldn't be comfortable being in a class with them.
Coffey filed a police report a month after this incident happened. I talked to police, and this is what they recommend students should do in situations like this.
The biggest thing that I can let anyone know is that if someone contacts you and you don't want that contact to continue, you need to let them know in some form or fashion that it's unwanted.
Officers say if this ever happens to you, to keep a record of everything.
It was just creepy how many different methods he downloaded all these different apps, Facebook, Snapchat, offered to Venmo, this fake text. Like, this person is like too obsessed with their technology, and it's like unfortunate that you can be so anonymous online.
Since the start of the spring semester, Coffey has stopped receiving messages from the unknown person. We'll be right back with more news.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. With more than 1.5 million new cancer cases reported in the United States last year, a need for a cure is on everybody's mind. A new study from Stanford University might have found such a cure. The vaccine is injected directly into cancerous tumor cells and activates the surrounding immune cells. The immune cells then identify and attack the cancerous cells. Of the 90 mice tested in the study, 87 were completely cured. A clinical trial of 15 people with lymphoma is now underway in order to test the effectiveness of the vaccine on humans.
The University of Texas got a new gem this weekend. The brand new permanent exhibit, Austin, is open to the public.
Today, hundreds of UT students and Austin residents gathered in front of the Blanton Museum to celebrate the grand opening of artist Ellsworth Kelly's new exhibit, Austin. The chapel-like building was designed by artist Ellsworth Kelly, who died a few months before construction started. The permanent exhibit is built much like a chapel. It boasts stained glass windows and a totem sculpture that stands in place of an altar. Around the exhibit hang black and white paintings that represent the stations of the cross. As viewers walk in, they are greeted by vibrant rays of light caused by the stained glass windows. Austin resident Susan Holland says she felt like she was in a cathedral.
The minute I stepped in, I felt like I was in a cathedral. It was just breathtaking. And then the color was just gorgeous.
Although the exhibit is designed much like a chapel, Kelly's partner of 32 years, Jack Shear, says that the chapel is really dedicated to creativity and not any one religion. Kelly originally designed the building in 1986 for a private art collector, but the project soon fell through. It was not until Kelly was approached by two UT alumni, Mickey and Jean Klein, about the possibility of building an exhibit. With the help of Bland's director, Jamil Wicha, $23 million were raised to build the exhibit. Third-year UT student, Ami Jean, says it shows that UT is about more than just great academics.
The city and for Austin, I think even knowing that it's on our campus as a student, I don't know, it makes you feel like, wow, we really do have a lot of reach, and not only within like academics or our academic fields, it's also like artistic, it's also more holistic.
Ellsworth Kelly's exhibit, Austin, is now open to the public for anyone to visit. Walton Gray Martin, KVR News. Thousands participated in the 27th annual Austin Marathon yesterday. For the first time in over a decade, the race featured a change in course. Runners kept away from Interstate 35 and the Mopac Expressway and stayed within 4 to 5 miles of downtown. Spectators were able to easily watch the race. Runners competed for $15,000 in the full marathon, $5,000 for the half marathon. Allison Makas finished as the women's full marathon winner, and Joseph Whalen took first place as the men's full marathon winner.
If you have struggled with transferring credits, good news. UT is developing an online tool allowing students to better understand how to transfer college credits between institutions. The Greater Texas Foundation gave UT a grant of $500,000 to develop the tool. UT is working with community colleges and universities across Texas and the nation. Each year, about 160,000 Texas students take at least one college course in high school, and nearly 700,000 students enroll in the state's community colleges. UT designers for the tool say that students, their families, and school counselors can't easily find information on how or if they can transfer credits. They say this results in lost credits and a longer time to the student's degree. UT's online tool hopes to solve this problem and get students their degrees faster.
Austin is dedicated to the celebration of Black history and culture. The mural is at the intersection of Chicon and East 12th Street. After an old mural in the same spot was painted over by new property owners, an artist took to the cause to repaint. Due to demand by community members, the artist delivered, and the unveiling included both new and old characters, such as Beyonce, Selena, and Salvador Dali.
Austin is now home to a new Korean grocery store. The national supermarket, H Mart, is open and providing Austin residents with new food options. The North Austin grocery store boasts fresh seafood and ingredients from Korean cuisine. Owners of the local branch, Stacy Kwan, says that there is no better place for H Mart than Austin. Not only does the store sell ingredients, but they also host different international restaurants. The Austin location is not the first in Texas. Houston and Plano host H Mart stores.
You know, Abigail, I don't know about you, but it feels like for the past month, it's always been cloudy.
Oh yeah, and it seems like we're going to get a lot more.
All right, well, let's see what has been happening in the Weather Center. Ben?
Thanks, Walton and Abigail. Will you need those burnt orange umbrellas or a cozy sweater? Stay tuned to see what's coming up in Austin weather.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Today there were some strong gusts of wind with a high of 79 and a low of 67. Expect to pull out those burnt orange umbrellas as the Austin area is expecting rain all week. Tomorrow's conditions will be challenging with an 80% chance of heavy rain. The high will be 72 with a low of 62. Wednesday brings more wet conditions with a 100% chance of thunderstorms. The high will be 66 with a low of 46. On top of all this rain, we will be experiencing a cold front on Thursday with highs and lows in the 50s and a 50% chance of rain. To round out the week, Friday will bring a 20% chance of rain throughout the day. Hopefully this keeps up so we can have a relaxing start to the weekend. Highs will be in the 70s with lows in the 50s. There's a 50% chance of showers on Saturday with highs in the 60s and lows in the 50s. will finally start to dry out on Sunday with a 20% chance of rain and partly sunny conditions. Highs will be in the 60s and lows in the 50s. Live in the Weather Center, Benjamin Cohen, KVR News.
Thanks, Ben. We'll be right back with sports.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
We're back here on KVR News. It was a big weekend for Longhorn sports. We have Madison Hildreth here to recap the action.
UT men's basketball played longtime rival, the Oklahoma Sooners, this weekend in Norman. The Sooners were looking to avenge their loss to the Longhorns in Austin 2 weeks ago. Let's take a look at the highlights. Starting in the second half, Texas is up 3. Coleman passes to Osikowski for the three-pointer. Doolittle is then blocked by Mo Bamba, showing off the good Texas defense this game. Young then goes to the three-pointer, closing the gap, bringing Texas to a 57-49 win with 8 minutes left in the game. Roach then misses, but Osikowski rebounds and puts it back. Texas is now up 9 with 5 minutes left. Coleman goes for the layup, and it is good. Trey Young is then blocked again by Kerwin Roach, resulting in a Texas win 77-66. This is the second win over the OU Sooners this season.
Now, Madison, the Longhorns currently sit at 16-11 and 6-8 in conference play. There's less than a month until the upcoming NCAA tournament, and they have yet to secure a spot. With 4 games left in the season, what are the games that the that Texas has to win for the tournament?
All of the games are going to be really important for the rest of the season. They already lost against Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and West Virginia this season, so they really need to be able to set up their games as the season comes to a close. If they can win 2 of their games, then they should be able to get a spot in the tournament. Another team to look out for is Texas baseball, who started their season this weekend in Austin. And we have TS TV Sports' Jonathan Polosek with the coverage from the dish.
This game was supposed to be about Chase Sugart's first start, but with Texas down in the 9th, the narrative changed when Austin Todd came up to bat.
It was a high fastball in, and they've been throwing me in most of the game, and so I kind of was like, all right, I got to really get my hands in this one and just kind of see what I can do, just try to put the ball in play, and luckily it worked out.
How satisfying was it?
As soon as I hit it, he was gone. Because I was all over the guy, the lefty, and the ball that hit to left center, I was like, God, I just missed that one. Throw me it again, and I'm going to crush it.
Despite a series of bunts in the top of the 9th inning by Louisiana Lafayette, Texas showed one major thing that could carry on through the rest of the season.
I'll tell you this, the resiliency of this team today was outstanding to get it going with Duke and get the big blows, the RBI by Hitler, executed upon by David, and then Austin just a great swing. Didn't try to do too much, try to be the same guy in the 9th that he's been capable of being in the early part of the game. So just a great team win, really exciting.
That resiliency would be needed as sloppy defense and a series of timely hits, plus a squeeze play by the Raging Cajuns would allow Lafayette to momentarily take the lead. In the end, Texas was able to overcome all of that and celebrate their first series win of the season. For College Press Box, I'm Jonathan Polosek.
After what we saw from the team this weekend, what are some things that the Longhorns can continue to do depending on their season?
Texas's strength this season is going to be their pitching. We already saw this in their first series, only giving up 3 runs in the first 2 games. Nolan Kingham is going to be the unquestioned ace of staff, and Chase Stugart has a talent to be a solid second starter, but will start the season in the bullpen.
Well, thank you so much, Madison. Now let's head over to Emma to see what's new in Hollywood. Emma?
Thanks, Walton. Tonight we will be talking all about the Winter Olympics, the success of the new Marvel film Black Panther, and Drake's new music video for his single God's Plan. We'll be right back with your entertainment news.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome welcome back to KVR News. Our weekly Winter Olympics update starts with Team USA's medal count. America currently stands at 5 gold medals, 3 silver medals, and 2 bronze medals, Short track speed skater John Henry Kruger brought home silver in the men's 1,000 meter final. It's the first time since 2010 that the Team USA won a medal in this competition. 23-year-old Nick Gepper shocked fans, taking a silver in the men's ski slope style final. While there's still more than a week left in the Winter Olympics, Norway currently holds the most medals with a total of 26, while America has 10. Stay tuned with KVR News for all this and more on Olympic news. A great way to celebrate Black History Month is celebrating Black Panther, Marvel's first film directed by an African American. The film brought an estimate of $218 million during the 4-day debut. It is the 5th largest opening in all time and is the 2nd opening for a Marvel studio film. Black Panther is heading for a blockbuster weekend and can be a pathway to influence diversity in the Hollywood film industry. Famed rapper Drake recently put out his music video for his new single, God's Plan. Instead of using a almost $1 million budget for his music video, he decided to donate it all to the Miami community. His donations paying for people's groceries, gifting cars, donating to a women's shelter, and to a Miami fire department. The video has racked up 16 million views in the 3 days that it has been released.
Thanks, Emma, and thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to follow us for news updates throughout the break. You can follow us on Twitter and KVR News and like us on Facebook. I'm Abigail Arredondo.
And I'm Walton Gray Martin. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great week.